In the early hours of Black Friday 2023, outside an electronics store on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan, New York, 42-year-old accountant Lisa pulled her down jacket tight and waited in line for 3 hours in the cold wind. She'd only planned to buy a laptop, but when she walked out, she was carrying a tablet, a pair of wireless headphones, and a smartwatch, all because a salesperson told her, "These items are 20% off only this morning. Miss today, and not only will the prices go back up, but will also sell out." Once she was outside, Lisa realized the tablet and headphones weren't even necessities. But that thought, "I don't want to miss this deal," had made her pull out her wallet anyway. This fear of missing out on a good thing is actually loss aversion, a famous psychological concept that acts like an invisible hand, quietly shaping most of our decisions. What is loss aversion? Breaking down the theory and its roots. The term loss aversion was first clearly defined in 1979 by Nobel Prize-winning economists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky in their prospect theory. Traditional economics assumes people are rational actors who make decisions based on potential gains, meaning the emotional impact of gaining $100 should be equal to losing $100. But through dozens of experiments, Kahneman and Tversky found the opposite to be true. The pain people feel from a loss is 2 to 2.5 times stronger than the pleasure they get from a gain of the same amount. For example, the anxiety of losing $100 would take gaining $200 to $250 to fully cancel out. Or think about it this way, the hassle of returning a defective product sticks with you more than the satisfaction of buying something that's a great value. From an evolutionary psychology perspective, loss aversion is a protective mechanism humans developed over thousands of years of survival. Back in prehistoric times, our ancestors lived in unpredictable environments. Losing a hunted animal might mean their family went days without food. Missing out on a safe cave could mean freezing to death in winter. On the flip side, finding an extra berry or catching one more rabbit improved their lives, but it didn't keep them from dying. This survival pressure, losses are deadlier than gains, got etched into human DNA. People who were more sensitive to losses were better at avoiding risks and staying alive, so this trait got passed down. Today, it's basically our default setting when making decisions. One important thing to note, loss aversion isn't just fear of losing. It's also closely tied to reference points. In later research, Kahneman found that people don't judge losses or gains based on objective numbers, they judge them against a standard they set for themselves. Take the real estate market in California, for example. Sellers usually use the price they paid for the house as their reference point. If the current market price is lower than what they paid, even if it's still higher than the average for the neighborhood, they'll feel like they're losing money. They'd rather cut the price less and wait longer than sell at a loss. Buyers, though, use recent sale prices for similar homes as their reference. If a seller's price is higher than that, even if it's reasonable, buyers will hesitate. They'll feel like they're overpaying. Real-world uses of loss aversion, psychological traps in everyday life. Loss aversion isn't just a theory. It's already being used by businesses, organizations, and even governments, creeping into every part of daily life. 1. Marketing. Fear of missing out drives spending more than wanting to gain. Businesses are masters at using loss aversion. Their core trick is framing buying something as avoiding a loss. Amazon's Prime exclusive discounts are a perfect example. On product pages, they'll highlight non-prime price, $99.99, prime price, $79.99, deal ends in 24 hours. That non-prime price and countdown? They're setting a loss reference point for shoppers. If you don't sign up for Prime or buy right away, you're losing out on a $20 discount. Data shows this kind of limited-time member discount boosts Amazon's conversion rates by over 35%, way more than regular Spend X, Save Y deals. ClassPass, a U.S. gym chain, once launched a check-in deposit policy. Users paid a $100 monthly deposit. If they checked in 8 times that month, they got the full deposit back. If they missed a check-in, $25 got deducted. Before this policy, ClassPass users checked in an average of 4 times a month. After, that number jumped to 7.2. The reason is simple. Users cared more about the pain of losing part of their $100 deposit than the pleasure of getting $100 back for 8 check-ins. This give first, take away if you don't follow through model works way better than get a $100 reward for 8 check-ins. The reward model only got half the participation rate. 2. Finance, the vicious cycle of reluctance to cut losses and the disposition effect. In the stock market, loss aversion leads to a well-known investing mistake called the disposition effect. Investors tend to sell stocks that are making money, but hold on to stocks that are losing money. A 2022 Morgan Stanley report, U.S. Retail Investor Behavior Report, found that individual U.S. investors hold on to profitable stocks for an average of 3.2 months, but keep losing stocks for 8.7 months. Even more extreme, when a stock drops 20% or more, 68% of retail investors will hold on and hope. Their excuse? I don't want to admit I lost money. Loss aversion is the driving force here. Selling a profitable stock gives you the joy of making money, which fits with the urge to avoid loss. But selling a losing stock turns a potential loss into a sure thing. That pain is too hard to handle. But this usually backfires. When the Dow Jones plummeted at the start of the 2020 pandemic, many retail investors held on to energy and airline stocks because they didn't want to cut their losses. In the end, those stocks dropped over 40%. Meanwhile, investors who calmly cut their losses and switched to tech stocks recovered their money quickly when the market bounced back. Andre Schleifer, a Harvard Business School professor, put it best: loss aversion turns investors into slaves to their emotions. They're not making decisions for the future, they're paying for their past fear of loss. 3. Public policy. Avoiding loss gets more compliance than gaining a reward. Governments also use loss aversion to get people to follow policies. San Francisco's garbage sorting deposit system is a classic case. When residents buy trash bags, they pay an extra $5 sorting deposit. If a garbage truck driver checks and finds the trash is properly sorted, the deposit goes back to the resident's account. If it's not sorted right, the city keeps the deposit and the resident has to pay an extra $10 fine. Before the system, San Francisco's garbage sorting compliance rate was only 58%. After, it jumped to 89%. Compare that to Seattle's attempt at a sorting reward system. Residents who sorted their trash correctly got a $5 gift card each month. But this worked way worse. The compliance rate only rose to 65%. The reason is simple. The pain of losing a $5 deposit motivates people more than the pleasure of getting a $5 gift card. The same logic applies to traffic rules. New York City's original congestion pricing plan was pay $15 to enter Manhattan's core. People hated it. There was huge pushback. Then the city rebranded it. If you don't pay the congestion fee, you'll get a $30 fine, but pay on time and you get a $10 discount. Opposition dropped by 40%. At its core, they just framed paying as avoiding a fine, and that drastically cut down on public pushback. Beyond the trap, understanding loss aversion to make smarter decisions. Loss aversion isn't a monster, it's a gift from human evolution, but it can also be a chain that holds back our decisions. To avoid letting it mislead you, first learn to spot loss framing. When you're making a choice, ask yourself, am I scared of losing something, or do I actually need what I'm gaining? For example, when you see a limited time discount while shopping, make a needs list first. Check if the item is on that list. Lisa bought unnecessary stuff because she was scared of missing the deal. That's letting fear of loss control you. When investing, if a stock is losing money, make decisions based on the company's fundamentals and market trends, not because you don't want to admit the loss. So many retail investors' mistakes happen because they turn investing decisions into emotional comfort. It's also important to remember, the strength of loss aversion isn't fixed. Kahneman's research found that when a loss is a low probability, high-impact event, like a natural disaster, people actually ignore loss aversion and take risks, like not buying insurance. But when a loss is a high probability, low-impact event, like everyday shopping, loss aversion gets stronger. That's why people will wait in line for hours on Black Friday to save $20, but won't pay a few $100s a year for earthquake insurance for their home. The loss from missing a sale feels more real and immediate. At its core, loss aversion is humanity's natural reaction to uncertainty. In a world full of unknowns, we all want to feel safe by avoiding losses. But true rationality isn't fighting this instinct, it's understanding it and using it. Don't let fear of loss push you around, but don't chase pleasure from gains blindly either. Find the decision-making style that works best for you by balancing both. After all, life isn't a game of avoiding losses, it's a journey of creating value.